doesn't work, but okay.
Yes, you have 30 minutes.
Okay. My name is Hiroshi Morita. First of all, thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity to presenting my paper in this conference, and also thanks the audience to participate into this conference until the last presentation. Okay, so okay. So today I can talk about the paper titled "The Signaling Effect of Fiscal Announcement." So I think my paper is not related to the international finance, but so in my paper I just use the financial variable. So in that sense, my paper is slightly related to the international finance. By the way, so this is a joint work with Leonardo Melosi and Francesco Zannetti. So because Leonardo belongs to the FRB of Chicago, so there is a usual remark in the first page. Okay, let's move to the context. So, as I say, so this paper addressed the issue of the signaling effect of fiscal policy, right? And as you may know, the established literature on the signaling effect in the monetary policy, like Melosi's paper, the Nakamura and Steinson, and the Jarkinski and the Kennedy. So the Melosi's paper give us the good theoretical model to analyze the signaling effect of monetary policy, and also the Nakamura and Steinson show the conduct empirical analysis to examine the existence of the signaling effect. And the Jarkinski and the Kennedy also provide a method to disentangling the signaling effect of monetary policy from the entire monetary policy. So, and those papers emphasize the central bank announcement provide the powerful signal on the future economic condition to the market participants, and those signals have an effect on the expectation of market participants, causing the fluctuation in the stock prices or inflation expectation, as well as macroeconomy. But I think, or we think, there are almost no study on the signaling effect in the fiscal policy, as long as I know. So, but we consider, of course, there are, as in the monetary policy, the fiscal intervention also transfer the government, especially the negative outlook, to the private sector, because the large fiscal package often announced to cope with possible recession, right? So against this situation, our question that we address in this paper is whether the fiscal announcement also entails a signaling effect or not. Right? But this is, we think this is a very challenging task because it is very difficult to estimate the signaling effect in the fiscal policy for answering our main question. So to answer the question, we first need to establish the benchmark model, benchmark response with exogenous fiscal announcements that do not contain the signaling effect, right? And thereafter, we should compare the benchmark against the fiscal announcement that might contain the signaling effect, right? For extract the existence of the signaling effect, right? And in our analysis, the ideal announcement for identifying the signaling effect are the announcement of the anticipated and large fiscal package designed to combat the recession. And the severity of recession is largely uncertain at that time of announcement. So in the paper, we are finding out that those events, as I talked before, after I read the newspaper, I found such a kind of event.
Sorry, let me just ask one quick question.
Sure.
Are you sort of thinking, what do you mean by exogenous fiscal summary? You're talking about something that is unplanned, like, some kind of a extraordinary fiscal package you're considering?
No, yeah.
Or something that is like because there's a big literature that talk about it, CNA and R that discuss about anticipating or planning, right? The fiscal policy, fiscal, like, sort of the sort of announcement that they actually make. You're going in that direction, or you're thinking about something else?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I will explain the definition of exogenous.
Yeah.
But here, the exogenous mean the exogenous fiscal announcement is not related to, not about the fiscal package or supplementary budget. So the announcement that related to, that convey the information of increase the government spending near future, but it is not related to the fiscal package supplementary budget. We define the exogenous fiscal announcement. Okay. Maybe the few slides later, I will explain the detail about the exogenous. So, so to achieve our purpose here, what we do are as follows. First, so we construct the nodal data set with the narrative record from press release about supplementary fiscal package in Japan. And then we conduct the empirical analysis to study the effect of fiscal announcement on daily stock prices. So we first briefly show, yeah, as I said, that I first exhibit the comparison between the stock price response to exogenous fiscal announcement with the response to stock price to supplementary fiscal measure announcement, right? Then we conduct the more sophisticated empirical analysis using the local projection method. Then, and in our empirical analysis, we mainly focus on the role of the macroeconomic uncertainty. So my empirical analysis reveal the effect of signaling effect of fiscal policy is likely to depend on the macroeconomic uncertainty, right? And after the empirical analysis, we construct the simple theoretical model, very simple, but our model can replicate our empirical finding. And our model is contain the imperfect information and signaling effect. And also our model gives us some theoretical implications to understand the signaling effect of fiscal policy, right? So, and let me briefly explain the result in this paper. So from empirical analysis, we found that the announcement of exogenous fiscal spending have a positive effect on the stock prices. So if there is no signaling effect in the announcement of fiscal package, then the stock price positively respond to such an announcement. But we also found that the announcement of supplementary budget or fiscal stimulus package have a possibly the negative or insignificant effect on stock prices. So the results depend on as in the third bullet point, the response to the stock price to supplementary budget announcement may depend on the uncertainty of economic situation. And also from the theoretical model, we found that there is a two opposing effect on the economy with respect to the fiscal announcement. First is the ordinary demand stimulus effect, which have a positive effect, always has a positive effect on the stock prices. But our model can emerge the signaling effect of fiscal policy, which convey the information about the reduction in productivity, and it may lead to decline in the stock prices, right? And also our model derive the implication that the strength of the signaling effect depend on the prior uncertainty of household sector and signal precision received by the government sector and the other parameter in the model, right? And so here's the roadmap. So as I said, we first explain the empirical analysis, then we show you the theoretical model, and I will finally wrap up our presentation. Okay, so finally, so as I emphasized in introduction, we construct the novel data set to examine the signaling effect of fiscal policy. Our data set combines the narrative record on fiscal announcement and daily movement of stock prices, right? Our sample period is covered from the January 2011 to December 2020, and we picked up the 16 supplementary fiscal announcements for our sample period, right? So like this. Like this. Okay, I will explain later. By the way, so to identify the timing of the supplementary fiscal announcement, I closely read a newspaper, Nikkei newspaper, to identify the timing of a news release. And in our paper, yeah, I dig up the timing of the release of the final size of fiscal intervention as a critical news to convey any information, some information about the fiscal package. And also we use the Nikkei 225 average as a stock prices. And also, as I say, we examine the state dependency of the signaling effect on uncertainty, so that we use the Nikkei volatility index. So we incorporate the Nikkei volatility index into the estimation equation. Right. So this is a list of the fiscal stimulus package employed in this paper. So the column 1 shows the date of ratification, official ratification, and column 2 shows the name of fiscal package, and column 3 indicates the total amount of fiscal spending for each fiscal package or supplementary budget, and column 4 shows the date of news release. So it should be noted that the date of news release is different from the official ratification. So it's very political reason, but in general, firstly, the prime minister or government official reveal the final amount of the fiscal spending in press conference or so on. Thereafter, the cabinet officially ratified. So basically, the news release day is first, and then the ratification date. And we focus on we use this date to capture the timing of the news release. And this line show this line say that we create a dummy variable which take 1 when on those days, on each day.
What exactly the difference between information at the time of the release and what is the ratification? Because ratification is going to be like more formal, right?
Yes,
formal. So what's the information that actually capturing a news release? Is it something like, let's say, size some extent, with only qualitative, they're doing something. What precise all the information are actually, prevail?
So basically, on the date of the news release, almost people know the total size of spending, fiscal spending, and basically the total amount of spending hardly changes between the date of news release and official ratification, right? So
ratification is, I think, by the
cabinet.
I mean, diet.
No, cabinet member, prime minister and other minister. So, of course, after ratification, yeah.
Go through the parliament vote.
yeah, of course, after ratification, the package go to the,
National diet.
yes. But as I said,
Yeah.
but similar in the, yeah, the period between this and this, and yeah, of course,
So
there's
this
not,
ratification is just the date that the cabinet,
yes,
prime minister presented. to the
Yes.
South.
It's
So you can ratify-
It's like a cabinet announcement.
Yeah.
Cabinet announcement. Yeah.
Both matches for many cases, right?
Sorry.
Is there any reason
is-
why the news release and the ratification date matches during the COVID?
Okay, yeah, honestly, I don't know, but maybe the, yeah, COVID emergency period, maybe the government, hurry to, yeah, pass those packages. So the, yeah, become shorter the date between the ratification and the, yeah, presentation of the prime minister for prime minister about the, yeah, skeleton of the fiscal spending.
So in that sense, that news release is not the news release by the government.
Exactly.
It's just the
exactly
news
like,
report
exactly. It's
by
like,
the Nikkei newspaper,
Exactly.
not the news release by the government.
it's not official statement that made. Official statement
It
is
will have to be,
ratification. Exactly. That's
cabinet
cabinet announcement, yeah.
Or the
The thing-
parliament.
Exactly. It's like preparing information that leaks to some extent.
Yeah,
But I think
it's
the
like
key
leaking.
point, exactly, it's a leaking. So I think the key point is gonna be on the ratification day, you need to have a parliament approval, right? So that's actually the final statement that would be factor, right? So there's gonna be additional.
Of
Exactly.
course, of course.
The question is gonna be how much information the reveal at the time of the news release compare that like in the cabinet announcement and also the parliament approval. I think that's gonna be the key. Technically, how the information could differ between 3 point of time.
Of course,
Right.
of course. But at least we consider that this is a critical timing to review.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it reveals something, right? Because
Yeah.
before that, we don't anticipate anything, but potentially it could be a noise, right? Because it doesn't prevent anything, because, government has not committed anything on the thing.
Okay. I'm sorry, but that's just a page. So, and maybe I discussed that, yeah, that point in maybe in paper. So, yeah, sorry, I go ahead. Please, let me go ahead. So okay, how much?
Sorry, 15 minutes.
15 minutes, okay. So before full-fledged empirical analysis, we first show you the, yeah, preliminary evidence in which we compare we briefly compare the response of stock prices to the exogenous fiscal spending and the response of stock price to the announcement about supplementary budget. So in the figure A, I show you the response of or movement of stock prices, daily movement of stock prices after the exogenous fiscal spending announcement. And we, as an exogenous fiscal event, we pick up the three events. Following the three events, the one out of three is general election win by the Conservative Party, and the remaining is a date of hosting the large universal events like Olympic and universal exposition. And I meant exogenous is, so those events, those announcements contain the information about increase in the government spending or public spending near future. But those events does not contain the negative outlook on the economic situation by the government. So I call the exogenous, right? On the other hand, so maybe it is so maybe the exogenous is not good, maybe. But by the way, so on the sorry, the red line is the mean of the response of the stock prices. By the way, in the figure 1b, I will show you the response of stock prices to 16 supplementary budget, right? And from this figure, we can see that there are the large range of the stock price responses, right? So some announcements have a positive effect on stock price, but the other have a negative effect, right? And sorry, so maybe that I think there's a time limit, so I skip to show some detailed figure, but I also find out the negative response is observed when the economy is uncertain. Economy is in high uncertainty. More precisely, when the dispersion of the household outlook to the future economic condition calculated based on some consumer survey is there larger, then the stock price shows a negative response to fiscal announcement, especially fiscal announcement about supplementary budget. Okay, do you make sense? So and this figure motivates our analysis to focus on the fiscal information effect, fiscal signaling effect, and also this wide range of the response, and the response also motivates the idea that the signaling effect may depend on the economic uncertainty, right? So this is the estimation model. We use the local projection method, and the left-hand side variable is the cumulative response of stock return for the horizon age, and also this variable is an indicator variable or dummy variable, which takes 1 when the day of the news release for each announcement, and VT is a new Nikkei volatility index that captures the uncertainty in the economy, and also those variables is normalized. And also we contain some control variable, the lag variable, or the stock price in the US market, and so on. And as I say, we incorporate the interaction term between the indicator variable and the volatility index to capture the state of dependency of the signaling effect on the macroeconomic volatility, right? So in this equation, the cumulative response of stock price to the fiscal announcement is stand for the alpha H plus beta H times VI. So as I say, the response depends on the volatility index, right? By incorporating the interaction term. And we also estimate the model under the 3 specification. The benchmark specification include the control variable and the interaction term. The specification 2 and specification 3 are not the full model. So for example, the specification 2, we do not contain the interaction term, and specification 3, we do not contain the control variable. So important point is that, if we do not contain the control variable and the interaction term, we cannot obtain the statistically significant effect. So the control variable and the interaction term is important to capture the signaling effect. And so could you see this coefficient? The coefficient on the interaction term is negative significant. So meaning that the response of the stock prices to the fiscal announcement decline as volatility index is larger, right? So, and also we estimate the local projection method, local projection regression. We can obtain the impulse response function. So of course we obtain the 16 impulse responses, but we only focus on the response during the COVID-19 emergency period. So so maybe the time is limited. So I just explained the point. So maybe I forgot 2 years ago, but maybe in the February 2020, everyone do not care about the COVID-19 then. So then the fiscal announcement to copy the COVID-19 have a positive effect on stock prices. But maybe during the March, April, and May, then people very concerned about the COVID-19 coronavirus. Then even though the government announced the positive expansionary fiscal package, then the stock price declined in response to those type of the announcement. finally, December, the response is not significant, but maybe in the December 2020, the people is getting to use it for the maybe the COVID-19. Then the response is not to show the negative significant result in response to the fiscal announcement. So what I want to say here is that the announcement about the expansionary fiscal spending also contain the information about some COVID pandemic. So the COVID pandemic lead to decline the economic activity, right? So the stock prices decline in response to such kind of announcement. Okay. So let's jump in the theoretical model. So our model is very simple, the two-period model, and our model contains the private sector, comprise the household and farm, and also the government. And I also assume the sticky price setting. And the important point is here, there is an imperfect information on the second period productivity. And also the government receives a signal on the second period of productivity in advance of the private sector and announced their spending plan based on the received signal. And the private sector use the government announcement to update their belief on the second period of productivity. And also now we focus on the stock prices, and the stock prices depend on the private sector belief about the second period of productivity. Okay, this is the timeline of the model. So at the beginning of the period one, the agent in the model observed the true productivity at the period one, denoted by A1, and they form the prior belief. And after that, the government received the signal denoted by A2 children, and they set the government spending plan and announce it. And after receiving the information about the government spending, the private sector updates their belief on second period productivity, right? And we assume the following information structure about the prior belief on productivity and noise signal received by the government. The model is very simple. So we assume that household believe the second period of productivity is true productivity at period one plus some shock. And also the government noise is a true productivity at the period two plus some noise, right? And the government, as I said, the government set their spending based on this information. And the private sector, they have who have a perfect rational expectation, so they can recover the signal received by the government from the announcement of second period of spending. So from using the equation 2 and 3, we can calculate the posterior distribution of belief on productive period 2 productivity based on the Bayesian theorem. So this is that. So and this equation 4 says that the posterior mean of the belief on period 2 productivity is a weighted sum of the period 1 productivity and noise, right? And the weight is determined by the volatility in the prior belief on productivity and noise volatility in the noise, right? And we can derive the proposition from this equation. So proposition is simply say that so the A2 hat depend on the A2 tilde, of course, and also as increase A2, the A2 hat also increase. And the other part of the proposition 1 say even though the sigma, although the sigma u square here is when the sigma square is small, then the A2 hat do not increase so much because when the when sigma u square is small, then the people have a very strong confidence on their prior belief. So the government signal does not affect the posterior productivity so much. Right? And this is key point of my model. So we assume the counter-cyclical fiscal policy rule. So the government, when government observes a negative signal on the productivity, then the government increases their spending, right? So okay, and psi is assumed to be negative, and psi is indicates the strength in the counter-cyclical fiscal policy. Okay, sure. So and again, I show you the timeline of my model. So at the beginning of the period one, when the agent observe the productivity A1, then they form their prior belief, and based on the prior belief, the stock price before announcement is determined. So expected dividend at period 2 conditioning on true productivity on period 1. But the belief on the productivity is updated after seeing the government spending plan, right? So the stock price also changed after the fiscal announcement. So this is the key of our model. And of course, so today I will show you the analytical property in our model. So to derive the analytical property, we conduct a log linearization of the model around the stationary state, steady state, right? So now after some calculation, we can obtain the D2 hat, the dividend on period 2 as a function of the government spending plan, right? And efficient on the government spending plan can be decomposed two parts: the no signaling part and signal part. And the signal part is always, and I'm sorry, that each of, for example, that this is the share of the government spending to GDP ratio, and the gamma is the risk aversion, and alpha is the parameter in the production function, and the zeta is the price stickiness. Sorry, but the very important point is that there is a parameter, and also the kappa no signal is always positive. But in contrast, the kappa signal, the sign of kappa signal is ambiguous, not determined. So it changes depending on the parameter, right? So and also the more important point is the size of the kappa signal depends on the counter-cyclical parameter and omega. Omega is the relative rate of the volatility in the prior belief and the noisy signal. And maybe just 1 minute. Okay, this is just a final proposition. And based on this equation 10, so we can derive the proposition 3. So we examine when the negative signaling effect of fiscal policy on stock price increase. So the answer is, so when the as I say, when the so omega is that, and when the, as I say, the private sector have a strong confidence on their belief, then even though the government convey the negative information to the private sector, but the signaling effect becomes small because the posterior belief of the productivity at period 2 hardly changed because the private sector have a strong confidence, right? And also the psi capture the counter-cyclicality of the government also have an effect on the size of the signaling effect, right? And even though the psi is large, large means the psi is assumed to be negative. So large means the absolute value of psi is small, right? Then the negative signaling effect mitigate. Okay. And yeah, so what I want to say is that yeah, there is a two opposite effect, the signaling effect and non-signaling effect. And the strength of the signaling effect depend on those variable, those parameter. So okay, maybe I should wrap up my presentation. So we found the result, the evidence of the signaling effect connected to uncertainty, and our model can be replicate the empirical result. And also we consider the following expansion of our model. So for example, in this paper we just consider the signal about second period productivity, but maybe the announcement may contain the information about future date or tax. So we incorporate those possibilities to our analysis in the future work. And okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Hiroshi.